Comparative verbs or adjectives. When we compare two types, we often use the comparative forms of adjectives. For example, my brother is 20 years old and your brother is uh, 10 a my brother is holding than your brother. A compact car is usual cheaper than van. English uses ending in order to express a different type of comparison. In the comparative form, the endings is her. For example, that Maria is tired than me. There are rules that you'd have to follow to from the comparative form. Mm, the superlative. Superlative are used compare more than two times. Superlatives usually used because there is only one superlative. Example, Danton is the tallest boy in the classroom. Pablo is tall, Arthur is tired, but Danton is the tallest. The superlative form of an adjective is used to describe something which processes a characteristic the greatest degree. For example, Henry is the smartest boy in our class. Thus, the superlative form or adjective are usually preceded by the it at followed with the noun state modified. For example, in previous sentences, the superlative forms tallest and smartest are preceded by the and followed by the noun boy. This type of construction is summarized below. The and superlative and now example, the Torre Mayor is the tallest building in Mexico City. Miley and Judy are the best students in English literature. Is the superlative. The next after before. While thanking the simple present, there are two words used to establish with. The action occurs in time and relative time and event after and before. For example, 6 I wake up. To indicate the sequence of events, you may use these words. I wake up at 6 a.m. Before I take breakfast, I do exercise after I shower and have breakfast. After bef- After and before are also used to express order in sequence. Uh, for example, I smoking some weed before I get home, and after that my homework.
Es un avión, ¿no? Cámara, gracias. Eso es un avión.
Count and not consonant. It is important to understand that in English nouns that name times are divided into two major categories: count nouns and not consonants. Number one, consonants are used to describe things that we can count. Example: one book, two books, three books, 10 books. One child, two children, four children, 20 children. One apple, five apples, six apples, 30 apples. Number two, a non-consonant is something we don't count. It has a no plural form. We don't divide a non-counts in parts because it has a distinct meal, oxygen, electricity. The parts are too small to count. Sugar, salt, hair, sand, rice. The parts are not artisan money counts, diamonds, dollar, furniture, mm, chairs, tables, beads, mails, letters, package, postcard, uh, liquidating weight, no definite form, beer, coffee, cream, uh, honey, wheat, uh, shampoo, solid, tiny with no definite form, butter, cheese, cotton flour, ice, ice cream, not are not the content what we can't see. Hot much and hot many. We use hot many for question using countable or plural objects. Example: hot many bananas are there. The composition is how many and count now and bear in B and complement. Example: how many bananas are there? How many layers of Malcar live? Uh, we use hot much for question using an uncountable or singular object. Example: how much waste is left? Uh, the composition is hot much and not countable and verb be and complement. Hot much quit it live. Hot much milk is in the bowl. Quantity and verb. Expressing quantity, there are different ways of expressing quantity of count notes, not count note. Count not count, some, any, a lot of, many, much. A failure, a number, only quantity. Prepositions of place. It, in, and on. In general, we use at for point, in for an enclosed space, and on a surface. Example: at the entrance into the garden of the well. At the bus stop in Mexico City on the ceiling. At the corner in Canada on the floor. At the end of the road in my house of the window. Of the door it got it out the room. Simple past tense. The simple past tense is one of the most common tense in English. The simple past tense used as follows. 1. Use the simple past tense to express the ideas that an action started and finished at a specific time in the past. Example: Monica bought a book yesterday, last year in traveling to China. Diana washed her mom's car. Number 2. We use the simple past to list a series of text actions occurring in a time sequence. For example, I finished school, walked home and decided to my homework before dinner. And number 3, the simple past can be used with a duration with start and ends in the past. Example: I skated with my friends down the street. And past continuous. The past continuous tense also called the past progressive tense is commonly in English for action we work on a particular time in the past. The past continuous of any verb is composed of two parts: the past tense of the verb to be was were and the base for of the main verb. Ma and ing subject was were was for bird, and ing they were walking. You were listening to her carefully. Laura was dancing. A man was screaming. And negative. She was not dancing. The cell phone wasn't working. And interrogative. Uh, was the building collapsing? For example, in general, is I was drinking a beer.
Somos el presidente lo pagó. El Andrés.